Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome to the
everybody.
stream. I'm Kel McDonald. I make comics. You can read at kelmcdonald.com. You should
Hey,
introduce yourself, Alina.
I am. I was just getting your audio running on my end because it was
Oh,
not
okay.
going, and I got it going
Oh,
now, so
no.
we're good. Hi, everybody. I'm Alina Pete. I make comics at weregeek.com and have all of my art up at alinapete.com. Uh,
Um,
we are gonna draw some stuff tonight.
yeah. What are you gonna draw?
I have no idea yet. I have a shirt design for a furry con that I need to get into at some point, but I think I need a warm-up drawing first. So I think I'm gonna.
I am gonna do some promo art.
Cool.
So last year, Amanda had up on her Twitter rather than a pinned tweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send it to you. It was a like because in theory the Twitter algorithm works better with pictures.
Mm.
So she made this little like promo image to be her pinned tweet. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen so
Cool.
people watching can see.
I'm gonna do a thing that I
And
do on my. Let me tell you about my characters, where I draw a little goofy picture of us while we're still kibitzing and trying to figure out what we're drawing.
so I was gonna do one of those with my little wolf mascot.
Sweet.
Uh, and because I need an agent because I fired mine uh, in
Ah.
like a couple of months ago. I've been looking for a new one. Mm,
I'm drawing you just as like the
he
grumpiest wolf. You're a very grumpy wolf in my drawing.
a tired wolf, tired
Here,
wolf
I'm giving you
rather than grumpy.
some under eye bags.
Yeah, that's what my wolf mascot has. The little
Good,
underbags.
good. We're just like, just weary, just a very weary wolf.
Yeah, I'm tired. Tired all the time. Um,
And I'm gonna give you your trademark necktie because I love it.
the piano key one or the new
Just a
one?
necktie. I'm not going for a lot of detail here.
Okay,
The
yeah, because I was
visual
gonna say I
flash,
don't
you're
wear the
like,
piano. I don't wear the piano key one anymore because I don't.
you got that
Sorcery
cool
101
wolf
doesn't exist.
one.
Yeah. Well, because I got the piano key one because it matches Danny's tie in Sorcery 101.
Right.
But I don't do Sorcery 101 anymore, so I just like I need a new tie. Werewolves are forever.
I
So.
I almost don't do Were Geek anymore. I've got one chapter left, and I was not able to get it done before Christmas because I had a huge contract, and then also my eye surgery, which went very well. But
How are your robo eyes?
my robo eyes are freaking amazing. So
That's.
they didn't promise me this before surgery because it doesn't necessarily always work, but they got me better than 20/20 vision. So I have 20/20
Ooh.
plus 2. I have plus 2 vision with my new vision mods.
Uh.
So that basically means that like I can see everything. It's amazing. And for those of you who don't know,
Uh.
I had like minus 18 vision before, so I could see nothing. Literally not. Like I couldn't see my
I
hand in
I
front of
don't
my
know
face.
what that. Yeah, I'm also blind. I don't know how blind I am, but I'm very blind. I basically my glasses are bottle end glasses,
Yep.
um, but for astigmatism, and
Oh,
it's a astigmatism that is pronounced enough that one of my professors in art school, with students' permission, would try on their glasses to see how blind they are.
yep.
Um, and he didn't even get my glasses on his face.
Yep.
Like
Before he went,
he got them
whoa,
like
whoa.
4 inches away, and he pulled them away, and then he was like, "You have astigmatism."
Yup. Yup, yup, yup. I've played that game with some friends of mine who have like put my glasses up to their face and then been like, "Whoa, I cannot actually put these on." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yep, I'm super blind, but I'm not anymore. I'm super not anymore. I still look for my glasses every time I wake up, and then I'm like, no, I can just see. It's fine. I can just see things. That's weird."
I actually don't like wearing glasses.
Mm.
My my eyelashes are really long,
Oh, really?
so my glasses get tremendously dirty super quick.
Gotcha. There, I finished our little goofy doodle.
I am actually not
Uh,
looking at your stream, so I'm
I
gonna have
should.
to click over to that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at yours as well. I should actually draw a thing now. What am I going to draw today? I know, I'm gonna draw a D&D character idea I had. They're a feral little person with very strong um, owl house vibes.
Cool. The secret to my wolf mascot um, is I used Animal Crossing models as a base.
Oh, good.
Uh, that's the secret to getting
Excuse me.
my wolf guy to look correct. Can you put your drawing on screen so I can see it again? I just pulled up your stream.
Do I not have it on screen? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go.
Oh,
It's us.
right.
He
There's
looks
a
very
delay, so
tired.
I'll give it a minute.
I just look confused, which is accurate.
There we go. Good.
Okay, I'm gonna update my overlay so that you can see where to find Kel's stream. Why did I not update that? Nope. Okay, I'm just
Oh,
gonna throw it
see,
in the
I,
chat
I
then.
just I just put our your name and pronouns. I didn't put any word
Oh, okay, sweet.
people.
Sweet. I think for next time I will have like a so I'm playing around with VOD Ninja. And VOD Ninja is really
Mm-hmm.
cool because it allows you to have stuff set up and not have to set it up in OBS every time. But I'm also thinking it would allow us both to share our screens so we can have a preview of what we're drawing in the other stream
Huh.
up for people to see.
Mine might not work. Like I've had bad luck with my connection and doing things like that. Streaming
Gotcha.
and sharing a screen.
Not great.
Yeah. Uh, at least on my computer and internet connection at the moment.
Gotcha. I am super lucky, and I had a friend who last Christmas, or even before last Christmas, was like, "So, Alina, uh, the crypto market's heating up. You wanted to get into streaming. You better buy a really good graphics card like immediately." And I was like, "Cool.
Uh,
I
do you have a
do need
PC or a Mac?
PC."
I'm a Mac person, so I have limited options when it comes to
Oh, gotcha.
upgrading my things.
Gotcha, gotcha. Whereas I have a box just of ridiculousness. I'm looking down at my CPU and there's so many LEDs, Cal. I went a little nuts with the LEDs. I haven't yet gotten my custom-made GPU backplate, but like I have everything else, including the rainbow fans. It's ridiculous.
um, now, the one thing I need to really upgrade is my Cintiq.
Mm,
I think it's on its last legs.
gotcha.
Um, I bought my Cintiq in 2011, I think. Um, and now it flickers at certain angles, so
Gotcha.
um, I feel like it's near its end.
I have a old but relatively unused Wacom, which was the backup machine at an animation company that went under. So it's like had almost no hours. I mean, now it's got a lot of hours because I've been using it for a while. But
Mhm.
that same friend who gave me the hot tip about buying a good video card a couple years ago was also like, "Hey, I'm watching the auctions, and there's this animation studio that's going under. Do you want me to buy you a Cintiq?" And I'm like, "Sure, sure." And then he called me. He was like, "So I couldn't get you a Cintiq, but I did get a tablet for real cheap." And I'm like, "Well, how's cheap?" And he's like, "Well, $800." And I was like, "Woof, that's a little pricey, but it's not like, you know, I can cover that right now."
Yeah.
But I was thinking like a little tiny laptop kind of one, like just a small Wacom, and I was like, "Well, okay, I don't know if I wanted to pay that much for it, but sure." I already
Yeah.
bought it. Went and picked it up, and then I was like, "So, this is my lot number. Go get me the thing." And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go get the dolly for that one. Go get the big one." And I was like,
Because it was a
How
giant one, not the
big is it?"
tiny one that you thought you
Yeah,
were getting.
it's like 2 feet wide. It's very large.
That's like the size of my Cintiq.
Nice. So one of the plus sides of living in Vancouver is there's a million animation and video game companies, and they come and go because Vancouver's really expensive.
Um, have you seen the new Matrix yet?
No. Have you? Is it any good?
Um, it's better than the other sequels, but
Hmm.
not as good as the first.
Well, yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I would describe it as unfocused, but still fun.
Okay.
Because basically the whole movie is Lana Wachowski
Yep.
telling all the alt right guys they're wrong
Good, good,
and
good, good,
they like the Matrix wrong
good.
and they suck. Um,
I mean, I'm kind of here just for that. I'd see it just for
yeah,
that.
it's just very like unfocused. Like she has a lot of thoughts, and they don't necessarily all connect together into a story.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha. Is it fun?
yes, I had
I mean,
fun because
that's a
of the fuck
plus.
you to the alt right guys.
But, I mean, that is why
Um,
I went and saw the Ghostbusters movie. I was like, I've never
uh,
been like I watched Ghostbusters, but I'm not like a dyed in the wool Ghostbusters fan. But I was like, I want to see this just to say screw you to all them folks who are mad about this.
yeah. I wish I liked that movie. I also saw
Yeah,
it, but
same here.
I, I didn't really like it.
No, same. And the thing was, they did almost everything in their power to undermine the comedy that they were setting up. So they'd like cut away from slapstick moments, and then
Well, it's
they didn't
also
have
like,
Hemsworth's funny dance scene in the movie. It was in the credits. I was like, that's the climax of this funny movie. Why did you cut away from it?
what? Well, it's also like I feel like so. While technically, the original Ghostbusters is an ensemble cast,
Yeah,
it's really the Bill Murray show.
no, for sure,
Um,
undeniably.
and everyone else is just there. And
Yes,
because it's the Bill Murray show, they can focus their comedy in story on Bill
on
Murray's
Bill. Yeah,
nonsense.
for sure.
Yes. And
This one
because they
didn't really have
it's
a yeah.
yeah, and so while I appreciate that they try to give each girl their moment,
Yep.
um I feel like they went too much into the backstory of the bad guy. Like I don't care about him. I
No.
just want there to be ghosts because it's the
There.
anniversary of such and such.
Yeah, there was also a moment where I was like, wow, okay, this clearly got edited after they'd done pickups, and it doesn't make sense now. They should have done more pickups to fix this reveal.
I'm gonna put little moons. Amanda did little stars. I'm gonna put little moons because that's more on brand
That's your
for
brand.
me.
That's
My
your brand.
brand. The little
My
moons
brand
don't
is
look that
D&D,
good.
so I'm drawing a D&D character.
The little moons don't look that good. I ended up getting HBO Max so I could watch The Matrix like the day it came out.
Oh, cool. Have you seen
Um,
Encanto? That was what I was going to watch over the holidays, and I did not get a chance to.
I don't want to go to the theater right
Yeah,
now.
it's out on Disney Plus
Um,
now. I don't blame you. It's
and
real bad out
I
there.
don't have Disney Plus because
Gotcha.
I'm fighting that urge
I mean, it's
as
true.
long as possible.
I was weak and I needed to watch all of the Gargoyles again frequently.
See, I own Gargoyles on DVD,
Well, there you go.
so
See, you're
and on
smart.
iTunes. So
You're smart. Have you seen the
I
Gargoyles toys that they're coming out with? I don't remember the name of the company, but it does like premium
I
toys.
believe Corey linked me to them.
Oh my God, they're so good. They just released the Bronx one, and he's the goodest boy, and he's very cute.
Yeah.
I do want, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Broadway, or not Broadway. Brooklyn. I need to see my Brooklyn. I need to see my boy, who I think is also Corey's boy, and she'll probably also lose her mind.
That's everybody's boy.
He's just the good. He's great.
Listen, you're either into Brooklyn or you're like me and you're into Xanatos. Because I have a
Fair,
problem.
fair, like the bad boys.
Well, it's more like when Xanatos proposed to Fox, I was like, that's hashtag goals.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's super unromantic, but
Yep. But it does make
in
sense.
in my aromantic brain, I was like,
Yep.
well, that all checks out.
That does make sense. That is a profitable relationship for everybody.
Also, his wife's a werewolf, and that shows good
That's just
taste on
great.
his part.
That's just great. Do propose to the
Yeah.
werewolf whenever you get a chance. See, it took me a very long time to figure out that I was bi, but I did love all of the girls on most of the shows, and then also Brooklyn, and I couldn't figure that one out. Oh, and Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is also very good.
See, I liked Gambit.
Mm.
Because,
All
again,
my friends
I
went
have
to
a
Gambit.
problem. What's funny is I know James Almost, who wrote a Gambit miniseries, and when I met him, I mentioned Gambit was my favorite.
Yep.
And he was like, okay, fun story. When he was apparently like in a community theater group when he got the job to write the Gambit miniseries.
Oh, really?
Um, and he mentioned that he was going to write a Gambit miniseries. And all the ladies in his theater group were like, "Oh, Gambit," and he's like, "I didn't know that this was a thing."
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yes.
he
Oh, it's a
then
thing.
immediate and so he didn't know that until like all the ladies in his theater group were like had that reaction. And then
Oh,
he immediately
Gambit.
emailed the artist and was like, "So we need him to be shirtless as much as possible."
And just real sexy and chiseled.
Yeah, and like a shower scene. Look, we got to get
Yep.
that in
That's has to happen.
there.
Ladies and non-binary folks hot for Gambit. Like some of that Creole
Okay.
twang. I think I got this. I think I got the pose now.
I need to think of goofy wants like Amanda. Because Amanda also put on her wants a giant wife and Il Nigiri.
Oh, good, good.
Um,
I would also take a giant wife.
um, let's see.
Although for me, I think my nigiri of choice is I can't remember the word for it right now, but the mackerel. I love mackerel.
I really like shrimp tempura sushi.
Mm.
Those are really good. Oh, on New Year's, I watched movies with a friend, and we ordered sushi from a place I hadn't been before. That's like right next to her apartment. And they had a lobster roll nigiri, like
Oh, nice.
a lobster roll sushi called the lobster bomb, um, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. And I was expecting it to be like the size of a rainbow roll.
Yep.
But apparently, what this place does is they have the tempura lobster and they put it in the sushi, and then what's left over is they just dump it in your meal.
Whoa.
So I get there and ordered other meals as well, like
Oh
a couple,
no.
like two other rolls, and I just get there and it's like a pile of lobster, and I'm like, well, this is great, but it's also
Yep.
too much food.
I've ordered entirely too much, which is not a
Yeah,
problem,
I,
but also not what I was expecting.
uh, we watched The Meg, which is about Jason Statham fighting a giant shark,
Oh, good, good, good.
and that's how we spent our New
As in a
Year's.
megalodon.
Yes, that's
Cool.
exactly what he's fighting.
Good, good, good. I
Um,
spent my New Year's in literally the shittiest motel in Kamloops.
oh
It didn't have
no,
hot water. It didn't even have hot water.
no,
It was bad.
no.
But we were
That's
trying to thread the needle between two winter storms.
oh.
And so we are like, well, we have to drive at least as far as Kamloops. Let's get there and we'll just take whatever hotel is nearest off of the road. And it's bad. Don't go there. It was so bad I left a review.
Oof, oof, oof,
Because I'm
oof,
like,
a
I don't
doofa.
expect a lot from motels, but this even exceeded my low expectations.
A YouTuber that I watch, Maggie Mayfish, her
Yep.
newest video is about a very bad reality show
Oh,
on
good.
Netflix
Oh, good.
called Motel Makeover.
Oh, no, good.
And it's two girl bosses, girl bossing it up. And
Hashtag
by
girl
girl
boss.
boss, and by girl boss, they mean um, that they have money to bail them out of their mistakes.
Right.
So they're doing all their girl bossness,
So by girl
and
boss, you just mean privilege.
yes, so they're girl
Good.
bossing it up while remodeling in quotes these motels. And by
Okay.
remodel, it means paint everything white.
Oh no, I hate that. They're gonna white girl it.
Um,
They're gonna make these into the whitest white girl hotels.
uh, and so just
Everything is
watching
shady.
them ruin these like beautiful wood panelings or like
Oh
rock facade
no.
on the side of these
Oh
houses.
no, I hate it. I hate it.
And then the pandemic happens,
Yep.
which doesn't affect them because they're rich enough that there are no consequences for any of their actions.
Yup.
What it does do
Right.
is make their contractor infuriated with them
God.
because they're like, oh, well, we need to open by this date.
Oh no. And he's like,
And he no, and he's they're like, so we need you to build a deck for this motel.
what?
And he's like, well, there's a lumber shortage.
Yes.
And he's like, so we can't get you like the material, like this is
Lumber.
impossible, and we can't get this to you. And they're
Yes.
like,
It's
what do you
not going to
mean
happen.
there's a lumber shortage? And he's like,
Oh
I mean
God.
there is no wood. Like,
Yes. It's the same reason we can't get books printed, because pulp.
yeah.
Pulp's not a thing that happens anymore, because we need wood. We need that lumber.
Uh, put as my joke want bacon cheeseburgers. That doesn't fit. I'm just gonna put bacon. I don't have bacon in my house because I have a problem.
You will go feral and eat all of it.
When I was a child, so my family, the mom's side of my family does like an Easter brunch every year.
Mm.
And one time, a different aunt was hosting because I forget the reason, and was wondering how much bacon to order, and was told, well, you'll need about 3 pounds for Kelly and 3 pounds for everyone else.
Right. Yeah. Accurately.
Yeah. Yes.
I used to be the bacon monster. My grandma would call me the bacon monster because I would sneak up to the table and steal unguarded bacon.
Yeah.
So I feel ya.
I don't know how to spell nigiri.
Nigiri.
It's on Amanda's thing, so I'm just copying Amanda's.
Sweet.
Make this a little smaller.
Okay, I'm gonna move this whole arm. This whole arm is not where it needs to be. Very strong Tarzan vibes on this character. They are supposed to be a feral child who was raised by a dragon in the woods.
It's good.
Yeah.
I support them. How have you been entertaining yourself all pandemic?
Oh god, a lot of different ways.
My favorite thing I've learned, well, some people peruse the internet for fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I've found what I really need and desire. I want to hear everyone's dumb fan theories.
Oh, good. Oh, I like that.
Especially Game of Thrones,
Oh
because
god.
those people have marinated in obsessively reading every word for 10
Mm-hmm.
years and have gotten
Only to have
no new
zero payoff.
content. Yeah, so
Oh no.
shit
Oh no.
got real weird, and it's
Mhm.
super entertaining, and every single one is Charlie Day with his Pepe Sevilla wall.
Oh boy. Oh good. Oh
There
boy.
is a guy who makes YouTube videos explaining his theories.
Oh no.
The newest one is all about how Bran is a time traveler that has set the whole story into motion.
And not just a child who was pushed off of a building.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Good. I have literally zero fan theories about Game of Thrones because I do not care. So here's my Game of Thrones story.
Uh-huh.
Before the movie, not movie, the TV
The
series came out,
show.
I was like, I do like reading books first, so that I can get an idea in my head of what the characters look like before the TV show comes along and alters them. Because I like seeing whether I like my version of a character better than
Mm-hmm.
the actor who was cast. So I went and I downloaded the audiobook because I was going to listen to it while I was jogging. Um, and I barely got through the first chapter. It was
The
very jarring,
audiobook
very
is
boring.
awful.
It's
Yeah,
awful. It
okay.
was so bad, and
Um,
I just like,
I
I hate
I
this.
only got
I'm
through
wasting
the
my time.
audiobook. I only got through the through the books because the place I was browsing for fan theories linked an amateur audiobook was made on YouTube.
Oh, good.
It's I forget the guy's name, but literally his YouTube is blank reads Game of Thrones or
Oh, good,
blank
good, good.
reads A Song of Ice and Fire.
I
Um,
like a lot of those because some of them are really like really put a lot more time and energy into their voice acting than a professional audiobook, unfortunately, does
um,
sometimes.
and the thing,
Not some of the well-produced ones, but like some of the just like, oh
yeah,
yes, we need an audiobook for this, and they're awful.
um, part of me hopes that the next Game of Thrones comes out, or the next Song of Ice and Fire comes out, not because um, I'm super invested in it ending or think it will successfully end. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
he'll finish it.
Yeah.
Um, but they started to get the guy who played Viserys from the TV show
Oh yeah.
to read all the side story audiobooks.
Oh,
And
he's got a good
since
voice.
and since the old audiobook reader is dead, that's
Yep.
how long it's been since there's been a new book.
Yikes.
Um, and people get obsessive about like continuity in audiobooks.
Yes.
I feel like they might pay him to just reread the whole series.
That'd
Um,
be cool.
um, but man, the theories about A Song of Ice and Fire include it's all aliens.
Okay.
Um,
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Tyrion is a time traveling fetus.
Good. Good. Good.
My favorite one is Ned is a pigeon.
Oh, I like that already. I'm into anything with weird birds.
That one is actually pretty quick to explain. Since all the Stark kids can like mind project into animals,
Right.
that means on some level it's genetic. So maybe they got it from their dad, and so it
It's
is
not their mom because she's
established.
a fish.
Um, and so then they're like, so maybe his dad has latent warging powers, and when he's beheaded, those pigeons fly by. So maybe he jumped into one of the pigeons.
And now he's just a pigeon
Um,
watching everything in a
oh no,
very
it gets this
Dragon
is
Prince sort of way.
no. This is because it's Game of Thrones. It's got to have a dark twist. Right
Yeah, of course.
after Ned's beheaded, Arya catches a pigeon for food.
Oh, good. So she eats her dad.
Yes,
Good. Yep.
checks out.
Checks out. I like it. Head canon about
Um,
pigeons accepted.
yeah. Um, and my other favorite one is Everyone Killed Joffrey.
Yes.
Which is because there's all these different theories about how different people killed Joffrey for different reasons. Um,
And they were all trying to
and
kill him, and they all succeeded.
yeah. So this theory
Good.
is
Good.
that
Good. Good.
all
Good.
of them are simultaneously true. So everyone killed Joffrey.
Good. I like that. That's very satisfying to me. Did I tell
Um,
you? So there's been this building in development down the street for a while.
mhm.
And I'm sure they thought they were being very, very clever, but now I think they're gonna like regret it. It is called the King's Landing condo development. So that's gonna be
Yep.
fun. Good marketing.
Yeah. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Other dumb fan theories that I really like. This one isn't dumb. I actually really like it, and I'm like, in my heart, this one's true now. Is there's one about Labyrinth,
Ooh,
um, which is about why the main
I
girl's
do
name
like
is
Labyrinth.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, this whole theory is based on like one line of dialogue. Well, actually, it's one line of dialogue, and then the fact that the story of the Goblin King that tells you what will happen in the movie
Yep.
exists for some reason in universe.
Yes.
So basically, the line of dialogue is when one of the creatures asks Sarah her name, she says her name, and they go, "Of course it is."
Right.
Like really dismissively. And this
Right.
person is like, well, Sarah is one of the oldest names that is still used today. It is like from the Bible and blah, 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 blah. And like they go in the history of the name Sarah. And they're
Interesting.
like, so, um, they said they're positing that also the Goblin King is David Bowie, but none of the other goblins look like a human.
Yes.
And also, all the goblins are not adult height.
Yes.
So the theory is Goblin King was a regular guy and was in love with a girl named Sarah who could not marry him because she had to take care of a stepbrother because they could not afford like help. So
Right.
to marry her, he had to basically pay a dowry he couldn't afford.
Right.
So to better himself, he goes into fairyland and learns magic. And he comes
A real
back.
Howl sort of situation.
He comes back, and unfortunately, time moves differently in fairyland.
Oh, good. Right.
So
Yes.
his Sarah is already old and or dead.
Yep.
And that breaks him mentally. So he latches on to another girl named Sarah who is taking care of a younger brother.
I like this.
And that
Except
he has.
Do you know the
Well,
speaking of fan
it's
theory?
well, yeah. So he keeps going, and basically he kept doing this over and over and over again, and all the goblins are actually the little brothers that weren't saved.
Gotcha. And they're like, of course your name is Sarah. It had to be Sarah because
Yeah, because
you just
they're
couldn't remember
all
one of
named
them.
Sarah.
Yeah,
They're all
Sarah.
named Sarah.
Why do we even ask anymore? So, do you know the it's not even a fan theory. It's literally true. All of the objects in her room in the real world
Mm-hmm.
are all the characters from that you see in the show.
Oh,
And
fun.
David Bowie is on her mirror when she's like taking a look at herself. And there's a news article about how this famous actor ran away with her mother. Her mother was a famous dancer who ran away with an actor and left her baby daughter behind.
Mm-hmm.
And in the photo, I don't remember if they aged her up or got somebody who looks a lot like her to be the mom, but the guy she ran away with is just David Bowie. And I'm like, okay, so she sees him as the Goblin King because he's already stolen a member of her family, her
Oh,
mom, and
fun.
now it's her brother that he's after. Yeah, that's the thing that they
I do.
talked about, like
Yeah.
in the set department and planned for.
I do like the they're all named Sarah theory though.
I do like that too.
Promo images are hard.
Yup.
But yeah, I fell down a rabbit hole of weird Game of Thrones ice and fire theories. And they're so dumb.
Good.
And it's a lot of like extrapolating from one line, but also
Oh, yes.
like, well, he wrote this in a different series, so that means he's doing this in Ice and Fire.
Right. Unhinged fan theories.
I love them. They're great.
I don't know if I have any fan theories about anything.
I don't come up with them on my own. I just like to read other people's.
Yeah.
Um, there's a part of me that like I never really got into fan fiction like writing it because
Mm.
I'm like, why don't you just make your own thing?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, because like at a certain point, it's like, why don't you just do your own thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because like someone pointed out that there's a guy who wrote all this world building stuff for A Song of Ice and Fire, and it's for like the far eastern countries in the world who like we don't have any information about,
Right.
and the info we do have is all like steeped in myth and legend, and so like this guy like went through and cataloged them all, and like um it's like, okay, you're making so much up. At a certain point it's like, why not just tell your own story?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people will make stuff up like that and then repurpose it for something else.
Yeah,
Like, I can see him coming up with like a role-playing setting based on all that and just like removing all of the Game of Thronesiness from it.
yeah.
Do you, okay, stuff can go the other way though. Do you know where a lot of the like deep, deep lore from Star Wars comes from?
um
Like, obviously, it's
Current
developed on
lore or
forums and
old
stuff.
school lore?
Like
Yeah,
old
okay.
school, like a lot of the names for the alien races and even some of the descriptions of the planets.
Well, I know that the Star Wars alphabet is repurposed Hebrew alphabet.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
which
But
I have a very I had a very funny conversation with Steve Lieber and
oh, I bet.
Becky, I forget her, Becky Hawkins, about that.
Right, right.
Uh, they were
Is it
trying to
repurposed enough
read a
that they can like just read it?
Okay, well,
Lieber
no.
and
So
use it
this
for?
is the thing: is it was in at Stormcrow.
Oh yes.
Um,
Which
there
R.I.P.
was
They just announced today that they are shutting down after
Okay, so
struggling to
what
stay
it
open.
was is they were waiting. We were the three of us were waiting outside of Stormcrow, and they
Yep.
were trying to figure out. They're like, "Well, we're trying to figure out what this plaque says," and I look over, and it's a lightsaber on a plaque, um, and I'm like, "It's Star Wars language, so it probably just says 'May the Force be with you,' or something
Yep.
like that." And so basically, he took all the Hebrew letters, but they're not like in the correct order.
Oh,
So they're
cool.
writing gibberish.
Nice. Good.
Like, so that's why like Steve and Becky were trying to read it, but like couldn't figure out what it was trying to say.
They're the like Japanese tattoo that doesn't actually read anything, but looks
Yeah,
cool. Mm-hmm. Good. Good. Good.
exactly.
No,
Um,
so back in the day, there was a role-playing game that was licensed, um, and they were gonna make a Star Wars role-playing game. I don't think it was West End Games. Maybe it was. But it was all this one game designer for this role-playing game who was handed the task and like, here's all the random crap from the movie filmings and stuff. Make it make sense and then make a whole world out of it. And so he went and like read some of that and then also watched the movie a bunch of times and went, okay, well, this planet is kind of mentioned here, but there's a shot of it, we don't have a name for it, so I'm going to name it and come up with this uh, world book for Star Wars.
mhm.
And so he published that as the role playing game. And then later, when the novels were being written and also more Star Wars was sort of being worked on, they just pulled from that as like, well, this is already something that we have the license to. It was licensed from us, so it sort of belongs to us. Let's just full on crib this guy's setting
Yeah,
stuff because it's
I
great.
mean,
It's
it's
super
why
detailed.
not?
He put a lot of
Like
work
they
into
paid
it.
him to do that, so
Exactly.
might as well
Like,
use it.
make use of it. And it's really good. It's really well written. So yeah, Star Wars comes from role playing games.
Um, I read this good book called Iron Widow,
Hmm.
which is so like how Game of Thrones is based off the War of Roses.
Yeah.
Iron Widow is based off the rise of China's only empress.
Oh, cool.
Um, and it's a sci-fi world where there's super hardcore gender roles because a lot
Yep.
of that empress's rise to power is her bucking gender roles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a world where like uh, they're fighting big alien monsters with mechs. And much like Pacific Rim, they need two pilots.
Oh, good. I do
But
love
in
drift compatibility. That's very good.
so here's the thing: it's not drift compatibility. It's they need a man and a woman to do it
Right. Because you gotta have
because
some
gender
yin and some yang.
roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Um,
The
but if
thickness
one
thing, you need
side
both yin and yang.
is, but if one side is too psychically powerful, um, uh, they can overpower the psyche of the other pilot and kill them.
Gotcha.
So the book starts with main character is signing up to be a female pilot because her sister was a female pilot
Hmm.
who was killed by this specific pilot, but
Okay, so
not during a co-pilot session. Like he murdered her
oh,
um,
just straight up, just some murder.
just straight up. And so since the male pilots are like heroes and celebrities, it was covered up and kind of only her family knows.
Right.
And like if her sister had died during battle, then like her family would have been set for life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But she was not on the battlefield.
yeah, so it was just hushed up. So
Right.
she's specifically becoming a pilot to get revenge
Good to
on
go and
the
murder this
guy that
dude.
killed her sister. Um, and uh, so like this isn't real. This is kind of a spoiler, but not really because it happens in like the second chapter.
Right.
Her psyche overpowers his during a battle,
Oh, good.
and she
Good.
kills him.
Satisfying. Yes.
Um, and because of that, um, they're like, she finds out that since the society values men more than women, they've been intentionally pairing girls with
Strong men.
strong, like they specifically pair them with like men that will overpower them.
Right.
So she then gets assigned to the most powerful male pilot,
Yep.
who is a multi murderer who was
Oh,
in
good.
prison on death row. Um, and the only reason why he is not being executed is because he is the most powerful pilot and is the only one that can pilot the most superpowered mech.
Gotcha.
But every girl that he pilots with immediately dies.
Right.
Like
super dead. Right away.
So because the other guys, like sometimes the lady will last one or two fights
Right.
before they get killed. And the way to unlock the mech's like most powerful form is if the couple's in harmony.
Of course, yeah.
So they're like, okay, so either this mass murderer will kill her, and then we don't have to deal with a powerful lady
Yep.
anymore, or um,
Either way, we're winning here. We're looking pretty good.
or we're getting rid of a criminal. So
Yeah.
we win either way. That's
Yeah.
basically their plan.
Gender roles upheld.
Yeah. And so it's a really good book.
That sounds really good.
And it also has a polyamory
Alette de
rep.
Bodard. It sounds kind of like something she would write.
Oddly enough, it's by a YouTuber I watch, who is a lady that does. She talks about like the influence from Chinese culture and different like Western media.
Cool.
So like she got her start and went viral because she started with Avatar: Last Airbender.
Oh yeah, good.
And so basically so she like went through like each season of Avatar, and also reviewed the new Mulan.
Oh yeah.
Um,
The live action one or the
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she reviewed the old animated one. Then she went over like Kung
Got
Fu
some problems.
Panda.
Yeah.
And how Kung Fu Panda is like really well done from like Chinese cultural standpoint, according to her.
Oh, cool.
And then she did like the new Marvel movie.
Oh, Shang-Chi?
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I checked it out because she wrote it.
Cool.
I was advertising it on her channel, and I was like, sounds like a thing that I want to read up on.
That sounds really good.
There is no non-binary rep. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's no non-binary rep in it, but like they acknowledge that like gender is not as binary as people assume or are told. So it's like an acknowledged. It's more just she has not encountered it, and maybe this patriarchal society is not leaving room for that. Because like basically it's like the start of it, she's hanging out with her boyfriend before she signs up to be a pilot. And they see a butterfly where the
one half is male.
Yeah, where one half is male and one half is female.
Something Gyandromorph.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
And so it's kind of an acknowledgement from the get-go of that.
Nice. Man, if you want some serious non-binary representation in a really cool Asian sci-fi setting, Into the Vanisher's Palace by Alette de Bodard. So good. It's basically like, what if Beauty and the Beast was a lesbian tale set in sci-fi Vietnam? And also, the Beast is a dragon, and she's great, and very powerful, and also really understands consent. And like enforced consent, or not enforced consent, but like the power dynamics of like, hey, so you're kind of my prisoner, so I really shouldn't. But when you're not my prisoner, then we
can hook up. Yeah,
exactly. Super good. I've read that book like, I kid you not, like 10 times. It's really, really good. But Kind of spoiler, but not really. The dragon's two children are one of them is a boy and one of them is non-binary, and it's just really cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
In general, I don't care about spoilers.
Yeah,
And in fact, I am someone that if you tell me a spoiler, I'm probably now more likely to go read it slash like pick it up.
good, good, good.
Um,
I am pretty good at spoilers because I will forget. I can like purposely try to remember something or purposely try to forget it. And if I
uh,
purposely try to forget it, I'm usually pretty good at that. So
have you seen Sorry to Bother You?
no.
Okay, that's a movie where I saw the trailers and I was like, well, this looks like it could be funny. I'll get around to watching it. And then someone told
Yeah.
me the big twist at the end of the movie, and I'm like, well, now I have to see it. Um, the plot of Sorry to Bother You is capitalism sucks.
Oh, good.
The main guy is a black guy who works at a call center,
Yep.
and he
Hence, sorry to
uses
bother you.
and he finds out that he does better at the call center if he uses his white person voice. Uh, and his white person voice is literally David Cross dubbed over him talking.
Oh, good.
Um,
Oh, good. I like that a lot.
um, so uh, he is working, and then the background, um, there is a tech billionaire trying to advertise his new thing, Worry Free.
Hmm.
Sign up for Worry Free. Your food and housing will be covered in
Oh,
exchange for
good.
your labor
Indentured
at
slavery.
my
Good, good, good.
delivery service. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good, good, good. Yep.
Basically.
It's
Um,
the corporation town. It's real bad. It's something that Silicon Valley bros have been trying to reinvent.
yeah.
Also sharecropping.
So, um, so he does really well and he like climbs up the rank of this corporation because of how good he is at selling things when he uses his white guy voice. Um, and then he learns about the tech billionaire's big plan.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to mutate his worry-free quote-unquote customers because he owns
Yep.
their life so they can't say no,
Yep.
and make them part horse
Oh, good.
so that way they're stronger and can lift heavier boxes, and also
Good.
because they're domesticated horses they won't like be as independent and
Good.
talk back as much.
Yep. And
um
probably can't go into like mainstream society because they're half horse.
um and he wants uh the main character to become half horse, and take over as the leader to
The
sort of
leader of the horsemen.
prevent them from uh, organizing. He wants him to basically union
Oh, cool.
bust the horse
Union
people.
bust these horse dudes.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
So like that's the big twist, that there's mutant horse people in the basement. Like
I'm into it. Yep. 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 Good.
it's a very good movie.
Sounds really good, actually.
Yeah. And I knew it was a comedy about how capitalism sucks before learning
Mm-hmm.
that spoiler, but after learning it,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, now I have to see it.
That's really, yeah, that's satisfying.
And I've gotten into a few arguments with Spike where she's explaining a movie to me, but is
Mm-hmm.
doing it in such an obtuse way. And she's like,
Like,
and you
just tell
won't
me.
know, is it? And I'm like, tell me. And she's like, no, that will ruin it. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to look it up at Wikipedia and I'm going to find out way more than the answer to the thing I want.
So just
Like,
tell me.
and I'm like, and I was like, also, everything you've told me now, like, has not done anything to pique my interest
No,
in the
no,
movie.
Is Spike
Um,
a big fan of the Mutant Horseman movie? Because I feel like she would really, 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 really yes.
um, I have not. I think I told her that she should watch it, but since she doesn't like spoilers,
Oh, you haven't told her the good
um,
part.
yeah, I haven't told her that it's the mutant horse thing.
Oh, she'd be super into that, I think.
Um,
Not because Spike has any like weird attraction to horses, but just because it's so weird and such a
yeah,
good analogy
it's
for all kinds of things. It's like, yeah,
of
this is
horrible
good enough.
capitalism.
Yeah, literally dehumanize you
Yeah,
just to keep you indentured. Hey, and they're trying to do it to black guy, so like there's a whole bunch of racial overtones in there
yeah,
too. Awesome, good. Hey, black dude, why don't you be the leader of these slave horses and try to keep them
yeah,
subservient?
yeah. Basically,
Let's unpack that, shall we? Okay, I think I'm almost finally done the line art on this. I'm not a fan of that bow. I might redraw the bow. Everything else is good.
you seen any good movies lately?
What have I seen? I haven't seen a ton of movies lately. I saw Spider-Man in the like week in between pandemics when it was actually possible to go to a theater. Or
Uh
waves
huh.
anyway. There was like one week where we went in on a Friday to this one theater we know that hardly anyone goes to on the earliest Friday showing. And sure enough, it was
Hmm.
like a quarter full. So we didn't have anyone near us, and we double masked. Right before
Uh,
2 days after my eye surgery, actually. So I wasn't
so
even
you
sure
got
that
to
I'd be able to
test
see
out
the
your
screen very
robo
well.
eyes.
I did. It was really nice. They're very, very good at movie theaters.
Um,
And then we watched the Spidey movie, and that was fun. And then we very shortly, a couple days after, we're like, we should never see a movie in theater again because it's the numbers are going real high. They're likely to
mhm.
stay high for a while. And then over the break, I mostly watched British panel shows because there's a million British panel shows I watch, and all of them have Christmas specials that are very good. Do you
I
watch?
am
Have
I
you ever
am
heard of
anti.
the Big Fat Quiz of the Year?
I have not. I am anti Christmas, so
Yeah.
I avoid it like the plague.
None of them were like Christmassy. They were just all like, well, we need an extra show to show at Christmas.
Okay, that's acceptable.
Yeah, the Big Fat Quiz of the Year is really funny because it's like comedians trying to answer trivia questions about news stories from the past year, and they're all very ridiculous. And Charles Dance, uh, the guy from Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
uh, always does a reading from some celebrity's
Did he read? Is
autobio.
this where him reading Fifty Shades of Grey came from?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
This is
I
exactly where it
saw
came from.
that clip out of context.
Oh,
um,
it's very good, and he always like just leans into it. It's one of my favorite parts on
um,
there.
one of my favorite things involving Fifty Shades of Grey is um, someone at it was during like an interview with David Sedaris,
Oh.
and they're like, we heard that you like to read other people's books as audiobooks, so we have something we would like you to read. And they didn't tell him what he's going to be reading, so he read
Okay.
it. He read the scene where he takes her tampon out before they have sex.
Oh God.
And what's very funny is he gets to that part and then he stops and he goes, "Huh, I guess you would have to take it out first." Because as a gay man, he has never had sex with a woman on her period.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's just one of those things you're like, oh,
um,
I didn't need to know that before, and now I do, I
I was
guess.
like, that is a thing that had not occurred to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that is a thing I know now.
yeah.
Hilarious.
Uh, Getting all these things straight is a pain. Um, but yeah, I have seen Tywin Lannister read 50 Shades of Grey. That is very good.
It's very,
Him
very
saying
good.
kinky shit repeatedly.
Yes. I've also seen Gilbert
Um,
Gottfried read some Fifty Shades of Grey, which is very good, but for different reasons.
yeah. I feel like yeah, I would have like I don't know if I would be as entertained by Gilbert Godfrey reading it, but it would certainly be unique.
Mm-hmm. I think my line art is done for that one now. Do I want to do some color? I think so. I don't think I'm going to tackle that t-shirt design tonight. It's a lot.
Um, I really like the YouTuber Folding Ideas.
Oh yeah?
And he did a thing that was a lukewarm defense of the 50 Shades of Grey movie. Um,
I like that it's
his
lukewarm.
point
It's like, look, I'm not going to try
his
too hard
point
here.
being that the director did the best with what she could.
I mean, yeah,
Um, and
probably.
also was fighting with the creator the whole time.
Right.
Um, because all the changes that she made to make it better, like the author was like
Was like,
completely against.
right. Was like, hell
Um,
no.
because it's stuff like giving Anna more agency.
Yeah.
And um, he points out that like there are interviews with the actors where they talk about how the director made sure everyone was comfortable during the sex scenes and like
Right.
that was the main importance. Um, and then like he then shows interviews of all the actors when the director has been replaced with someone else um, who is mostly directed television.
Ooh, right.
Um, well, and so he says, like, this does not mean that they're inherently a bad director. The difference is that if you're someone who primarily directs television, you are used to following someone else's lead
Yes.
because, you know,
Yeah.
you have to answer to a showrunner. And
Yep.
also, the actor probably knows their character better than you do
Right. So you kind of
because
just let
like
things
if
go.
so yeah so you like let other people make certain creative decisions.
Right. You're like, I don't need to put my stamp on
So
this. I just need to get this made.
yeah, so it's not that he's a bad director, it's just like
Mm.
he is a more compliant director.
That's the style of directing he's used to.
Yeah, and then the script writer was replaced with the author's husband.
Oh, jeez. Poof.
So for the sequels, the author got what she wanted. Um,
Right.
and the sequels suffer for it, but he shows a clip of like,
The
so here's
sequels
the
were never
actors
going to be
talking about
great though, because aren't the sequels like, and now this baby falls in love with, or this werewolf falls in love with an infant?
that's Twilight, not 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, not Fifty Shades of Grey. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey is a billionaire and a
Oh, that's
college
right.
student.
But it's the Twilight fan fiction
Yeah,
thing
it's the
was how the
Twilight
Twilight
AU with
piled
no
off.
supernatural things. Yeah.
Right.
And because vampires are the 1%, the easiest way to replicate the power dynamic of a vampire
Yes.
and a human is a billionaire and someone who's not a billionaire.
Yes, correct.
Um, but so he shows like a clip of them talking about filming sex scenes in the first one, which is them talking about the director making sure everyone's comfortable.
Yeah.
And then he shows them talking about sex scenes in the later ones, and they talk about they would do shots before filming the sex scenes,
Oh
and
my
that's how
god.
they got through them. And now that he has
Yikes.
this knowledge, he then is like, I think I found a couple of scenes where the lead actress is accidentally plastered
Oh
during
no.
filming.
Oh no.
Um, and he then shows a clip of the movie where she's like looking at a scar on the main guy's chest, and she goes, "Who did this to you?" Like super slurs her words.
Oh boy.
Um, but yeah, his videos are great. He did a really good one about flat Earth,
Oh yeah?
and why people believe flat Earth.
I might have seen
Um,
that. I think I saw it at my sister's house.
where he like goes to a lake where it's big enough that like he can prove like that there's a slight curve to the Earth, um, because
No, I don't think
there's
I've
no
seen that
like
one.
ocean. Okay,
Because the one I've
because there's
seen was
one that
like
was it a blonde guy or a brunette with glasses?
he wasn't actually on screen. So the director was doing a documentary but like was just interviewing a bunch of people and he was never directly shown. But it was like
Okay.
a bunch of flat earthers trying to prove their point to him and there was like a flat earth conference going on where several of the panels were just filmed and the highlights from them were shown on this
Oh,
documentary and they
so
were like,
so so
"This is
he
crazy, go
he's
nuts."
more getting into um, why people start to believe in flat Earth,
Yeah, there was a bit of
because
that in
of
this one
like,
too.
because it's like they understand that there's something wrong with society as a whole,
Mm,
and but like they're coming to basically the wrong conclusion.
right, yeah.
So I'll send you a link, and he does all
Interesting.
this while going getting in a boat to go to row out to the middle of a lake in, I forget where in Canada, because it's a
Okay.
lake
Oh, it's the biggest
that
lake, right?
is, it's a, yeah, it's large enough that there is a distinct horizon line, but since it's a lake and not the ocean, there aren't like ocean waves to interfere with a
Yeah.
horizon line.
Yeah. He's out on one of the
um
Great Lakes in like just a calm day.
yeah.
Or one of the ones up in Northwest Territories. They're like super huge. I can't remember the name of the lake, but we have a
So,
lake in
well,
Canada
he
that
says the
has
name of, yeah.
a lake
Oh,
inside an or an island inside a lake inside an island inside a lake inside an island inside a lake.
that sounds great.
It's great. We've turduckened our lakes.
um, but yeah, I sent you a link on Discord too.
Cool.
In Search of Flat Earth. His newest video is about um, how this English chef hates chicken nuggets.
Oh, Jamie Oliver.
Yeah.
Jamie Oliver
Um,
has sued McDonald's because he was contesting that chicken McNuggets are not food because they have a certain amount of things added to them. And he won, actually, in the UK, because in the UK you can bring up suits like this. And so McDonald's now has to remove a certain percentage of their filler from all chicken McNuggets in the UK for it to be considered food.
um, really, he hates poor people. That's the conclusion that Folding Ideas comes to. um, when discussing this guy's hatred of chicken nuggets.
Right, right.
Um,
Oh, Jamie Oliver.
but that video is also very good. So as you can see, what I've been doing during the pandemic is watching a lot of YouTube.
Good, 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 good.
um,
I didn't watch a lot of movies over the holiday, but let me tell you something I did do is there was a Steam sale and Cyberpunk 2027 was for real cheap. And I'd heard that it was a real trash fire when it came out, but I'd also heard that it had been modded now to be a lot better. But I am not a AAA title gamer. I love a lot of indie games. I love like Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon and Minecraft, like really slow creative games. Um, I like Valheim because it's
mhm.
got enough creativeness despite the fighting that I can power through it. But I knew that Cyberpunk was going to be a slog for me because I was like, okay, this is definitely like a Grand Theft Auto style run around and do crime and shoot things in the head, and I'm very bad at those sort of games. But I'm a huge Cyberpunk fan. Like I played the role playing game. I love Shadowrun, and I knew I was going to struggle with this game. But oh boy, did it remind me all of the things I hate about the bro culture of AAA games.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you make your character, and there's these weird sliders about how big you want your genitals or what kind you want, which is just weird on its own. Like I'm like, at what point in the game is this going to be relevant ever? I don't know why. I guess you want your weird cyberpunk dude to have a big dick,
I
but then why
mean,
have
it's
the small
also
dick
nice
options?
that you can. It's also nice that you can be a lady with a big dick.
It's true, and you
Uh,
can. You just because
yeah,
the voice slider is separate from the genital slider,
yeah.
so yeah, you can be a lady with a big
Um,
dick if you want.
I
So when you go through the
yeah.
character creation process, but then like in the tutorial, as you haven't even started playing the game yet, there's a scene where you have to rescue somebody. There's a woman from a bathtub, and you're stuck in person view, so you can't look away. And then you pick up this naked lady out of a tub, and you're trying to transport her to where the rescue crew can come and save her life. And her like boobs are just flopping in your face, and it's very male gazy and very uncomfortable. And I'm like, all of this is completely unnecessary, and I hate it, and I'm very aware of it. Thanks, AAA gamers.
Um, YouTuber I really like,
Yep.
Sophie from Mars, wrote
Oh,
a very long video about cyberpunk.
oh, interesting.
Um, and how um and she starts the review with um telling you about cyberpunky games that are better at being cyberpunk than the game
Oh God,
Cyberpunk.
all of the Shadowrun games are so good. The Telltale games, or not Telltale games, Harebrained Studios, Shadowrun games, Shadowrun Dragonfall, so good, so cyberpunk.
Well, it's basically she says like she goes through like so here's a bunch of stuff that people expected of cyberpunk whatever the numbers are after it.
Yeah,
And here's a list of games that
do that better.
all of them are not going to completely replace cyberpunk whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
but
but
each
you
of
can
them
get
does
bits of
a
good.
specific thing. um like like um one is where it is about you are an indigenous person in New Zealand who is supposed to
Mm,
take pictures of the surrounding area.
yep.
Um, and it's about how, like, Western culture is not valuing um, in the indigenous culture there because the capitalist side only rewards you for, like, capitalist shit that you take pictures of.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's like part of the game is navigating. all
Cross-cultural.
that.
That sounds cool. I
Um,
would play that.
and then they bring up Disco Elysium, which is talking
Oh, Disco
about
Elysium's
like,
so
yeah,
good.
which and so it's bringing up the
Like
anti-capitalist
class
message in
struggles and anti-capitalist
yeah,
messaging.
yeah.
Like
So
it's
it's
very good.
yeah, so it's
And the
basically like,
ennui of going to live in capitalism.
yeah. So there, and then another one that they like is Cloudpunk,
Oh, I've
where
heard of that.
you,
I've heard of that one, but I've never played it yet.
yeah, where you're an indie, where you're a delivery person in
Yeah,
a horrible capitalist nightmare.
you can
Um,
hear people's stories as you deliver
yeah,
things to them.
yeah. And you have a dog car.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they like go over like before they start their review, which is like, um, so play these instead.
Yep.
Because one of them is going to give you what you had hoped Cyberpunk, whatever,
At
was.
least bits of it. Yeah, my partner
Yeah.
was asking me. It was like, so you've been playing this for a couple hours now. Like, what's your thoughts on it? I'm like, it's compelling, but I couldn't tell you if I'm actually having fun. I do want to play more. I enjoy the sneaking around bits. I hate the shooting people in the head and stealing cars bits. Um,
But yeah,
but the hacking is neat.
I highly recommend Sophie from Mars's YouTube if you
Cool.
want leftist takes on video games.
Good.
I
Excellent.
found them because they did a bunch of
And I
videos.
do.
They did a bunch of videos about The Witcher.
Oh, good.
They compared the game to the show to the books.
Nice.
Um, and it got me to read the books.
Nice.
And the books are horny on main.
Good. Good, good.
Um,
I do want to check them out now.
it's interesting because like in the books, um, Geralt is like fetishized
Huh.
by ladies.
Right.
So
He's
there's
just so
a,
monstrous.
yeah, so he's like a dangerous like guy who like ladies basically come up to him and are like, I always wanted to fuck a witcher. Like they don't care
Gotcha.
about him as a person. They're
Right.
enamored with the idea. Um and he
They're
kind
monster fuckers.
they kind of compare it to sex work,
Oh, interesting.
because it's a thing that is necessary, um, like it's a valuable service for the people in the Witcher
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
but because it's like associated with a thing that people don't like, he is not welcome in a lot of places,
Right.
unless they need
Right.
him, and then he has a hard time getting fairly paid.
And because his
Um,
work is not valued,
yeah,
and carries a lot of risks that don't
yeah,
get adequately compensated for, and also take a
um,
toll on his body.
yes. Um, and then the other thing about the books is they're super pro-choice,
Huh.
like in a way that is completely not subtle at all.
Oh,
Like,
good.
we interrupt this plot to talk about how a woman's right to choose is super important, and why are we even discussing it? It is so obviously what should be true.
Good.
Like,
Good. I like this a lot.
um, but they're also like the horny. I think maybe like the horniest books I've ever read that aren't flat out porn.
Damn.
Because it's stuff like the first book is a collection of short stories, and said short story framing device is him getting sexed up by ladies in a temple.
All right.
Um,
So
and
this one time Geralt was getting it on,
yeah,
and go. Story now.
yeah. Uh, and
Gotcha.
Yasker is Dandelion in the books and in the game.
Right.
which is a real shame because if they had translated his name literally, it would have been Buttercup.
Oh, good.
And I'm just sad that he's not Buttercup.
Oh, Buttercup. I like that a lot.
Yeah. What do you want, iTunes? I don't care. Yeah, I'm just like, should have called him Buttercup. Guess Buttercup's not manly enough. Boys are so
Gender
fragile.
roles. Gotta have gender roles. I have genders. What even is that? I think this feral person reads pretty well as non-binary. They're supposed to be. I wanted to keep them very, uh, very androgynous. Something I've not done in my characters a lot before.
I think this is readable while tiny.
I can read it and it's on my tiny, tiny phone, so checks
Good.
out.
Good, good, good. Um, so the Witcher books I've read are the collections of the short stories. I'm a little apprehensive about reading the other books because that's when I get into the plot.
Gotcha.
Which
You're like,
seems
meh.
like it's going to be more serious than
Yeah.
the short stories. And the short stories, my favorite ones were the goofier they are, the more I liked them.
Yep.
My favorite one is about it's a play off Beauty and the Beast because all the short stories are play off different fairy tales.
Cool.
So Geralt goes to he's investigating murders in a village, and he finds a big manor where basically the Beast is in his magic castle.
Gotcha.
And he's like, "Hey, so I'm investigating some murders." And he's like, "Oh, so you think it was me?" And he goes, "No, you clearly are like sentient and got your shit together. Would you like help curing whatever's going on with you curse wise?" And the Beast replies with, "So it turns out a lot of ladies are into this, so I'm good."
Nice. Good. Good.
And now let me tell you about all the ladies that are into this. And it's just
their,
like a
their monster fucker fangirls.
and he talks about like the first lady that came was scared of him, so he like let her go home early, like he was supposed to keep her for a year.
Right.
But he couldn't take the way that she looked at him because she was scared of him. But then he got
just right out of the fairy tale.
But then he like basically got lonely, so next time someone trespassed, he had them send their daughter, and so like this happens a couple of times, and then like the fourth or fifth girl is like, "So here's an idea. What if I ride on your back naked,
right,
and take a war horn, and we run around the woods and scare the shit out of travelers?" And there is a great illustration of this exactly happening.
Oh, good. That is a night out.
Then they like fuck each other sideways. But since fetishism and lust are not true love, does not cure him. But then like another girl eventually he runs into who is into it. And like this just keeps happening. And he's like, it's at the point now. But also he is sending all these girls that stay with him for a year home with like giant bags of money to be their
Right.
dowry when they get home.
Right, right.
So, like, dads keep sending their daughters to stay with him for a year because they're like, listen, this is going to fund you marrying whoever the fuck you want. So
Yup.
just deal with it for a
Just do
year.
it. Right.
And he's like, so if a girl comes to me and is scared of me, I send her home with the money anyway. And I only have the girls that are into it stay.
Nice. Yet
Um,
another beast who's really into consent.
yeah.
I like this trend.
He also tells Geralt that he does not have chairs because he destroyed them all, showing off how powerful his jaws are to ladies.
Good. Listen, I bit through all the chairs to get some ladies hot.
Yeah,
You're just gonna have to
that's
stand.
basically it. That's exactly what he did.
Good. Good. Just stand for a bit. I'm sorry. That's just how it is in here now. I'll sit
Yeah.
on the floor.
That story is what the first episode of the new season is based on. And I was like, well, it was still a fun episode, but it was not nearly horny enough. But Sophie from Mars just released a bunch of videos about Resident Evil.
Ooh.
And she's dressed up as Lady D.
Nice.
For the last one.
Oh, Lady D. Everybody likes a tall lady.
Tall lady.
I get a giant lady. The internet is horny for giant ladies who will step on them.
Yep.
That's a better tale.
I haven't been looking at my chat. Is anyone in the chat? No. That's okay.
A couple people stopped by mine earlier, but I think they've checked out because it's real late on the East Coast. We might want to try like an afternoon stream sometime.
I was doing them
how
for a
your
little while.
afternoons are.
Last year I was doing them at noon with Joe.
Cool.
But I think it's like everyone was at work, so
Oh, yeah.
like no one was really showing up to those either.
Yeah.
I just know like I have a lot of friends that like play video games on Twitch around this time.
Right, and it's good.
Yeah, and that seems to like. And so there was like nighttime seems to be when
The right
people
time.
want to Twitch.
Yeah.
I think the nose might be too big. Do you have any New
Those
Year's
things,
resolutions?
Oh God, survive this year. Try to draw a few things.
What were you
I
gonna say?
basically quit New Year's resolutions a couple years ago when everything went to hell. I was gonna ask
Uh,
how things have been down in the States with Omicron, because I now know like three different people who have got COVID over the holidays up here.
I just hide in my apartment and don't talk to anyone.
Good.
So,
That's how to do
um,
it. Like I also, with the exception of going back to Saskatchewan to see Lane's family, uh, because we haven't
holidays.
seen them in a long time, because holidays, we were like, let's never go anywhere. Let's not.
Yeah.
It's getting real bad, and nobody's reporting their numbers well. And that makes me scared. Even though we're boosted, we're both boosted, so that's nice. But so was one of the people I know who has COVID, so that sucks.
No. Amanda is playing Mario Kart.
Nice.
Uh, let's see. I need to look up how to spell Eisner because even though I was nominated for one, I don't know how to spell it.
Eisner.
Those letters are going in one ear and out the other. I
Gotcha.
need to see it to spell it correctly. Uh, Speaking of Eisner, Michael Eisner specifically, I read the book Disney War,
Oh yeah.
and I never thought I'd feel bad for Jeffrey Katzenberg. He's an awful, spiteful man, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Michael Eisner is worse.
Yup. Oh, God, comics. Okay. One thing I did watch over the holidays
Mm-hmm.
was we watched the Hawkeye TV show because it's
Yeah.
Christmas themed and we've watched all the other Marvel stuff. So it's like, okay, let's get into this. And also, so Alaqua Cox is an amazing deaf, disabled First Nations woman who
Mm-hmm.
just like she's badass, she's an athlete. Um, and when the call went out because they were looking for somebody to play Echo, all of her friends were like, "You need to try out for this role. It'd be amazing." She's like, "I'm not an actress," and they're like, "No, but you're perfect for the role. You need to go and try out." So she sent in her film and like immediately got the role because she's amazing. And so I was like,
Cool.
God, I love her. I love the character. I love what they've done with her. She's one of the very few comic characters where it's like she's a native woman, but none of her powers are
Or
related to
nativey.
her being native. Like because she's part of the Daredevil universe, so it's just like she's just a
Mm-hmm.
lady. She's just a lady, and she's deaf, but she can kind of still get around because they overcome their disabilities in Daredevil instead of like it's anyway. That's a problem. That's a problem
I
for a different
I
stream.
I I remember once talking to someone who was like, Daredevil is a blind superhero whose superpower is that he can see.
Yep, yuppers, which is a real problematic. But that aside, I was like, I really like this character. I really love what they did in the Marvel TV show. Um, Out of morbid curiosity, I am going to go to her Wikipedia page and see what they did with this character in the comics. And oh boy, it's even worse than I thought.
Oh boy.
It's real good. So her dad, who was killed by Kingpin, I mean, kind of spoilers, but like, whatever.
It's
It's right in the
comics. Who
character's origin.
cares?
Exactly. Uh, so her dad, who was killed by Kingpin, and then Kingpin raised her, and never told her that he killed her dad.
Uh
Was
huh.
named like Joe Crazy Horse something,
Okay.
and they called him Crazy Horse all the time, which already is like eye roll. It's like naming a
Cool.
female character like Pocahontas. It's just really dumb. It's like Native people do have more names than just the one you've heard of, white guy writing this comic. But then there's a point where she's all into Matt Murdock and it's great, and there's a whole romance thing, and that's fun. Whatever. good writing on that. But then, and I don't know if you can hear me like rubbing my temples as I gear up for this because it's so bad. There's a point where like Matt says we can't be together, and she's all tragic about it, and then she goes out to on a vision quest. She goes out to find a character called the Chief, first of all, which is its own problem. He's literally is a native character whose only name is the Chief. So that's great. But then he sends her out on a vision quest with Wolverine. Because Wolverine's in everything, right? And he's also
Yeah.
kind of native adjacent, so that makes great sense. She goes out on the vision quest and meets like native Wolverine in the spirit realm, and he teaches her how to be native well. This like white guy from Alberta.
Okay.
It's a problem. It's real bad. I'm very mad.
Sounds it, yeah.
I'm real mad at that.
Do they talk about how Wolverines howl at the moon?
Because they thought they were wolves.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about the Wolverine origin movie is
Yes.
let me tell you the legend about why Wolverines howl at the moon, and it's like
They are badgers.
that's
y'all.
not what
A
a Wolverine
is.
is.
Or does.
Excuse me, sir.
Have you seen a Wolverine? Have you
Clearly, no one involved in Wolverine Origins knew what a Wolverine was.
No, not at all. Did you see the thing that was going around Twitter today? Where
No.
it was like Wolverine and Cyclops fighting in like a Stone Age kind of setting? Because like Wolverine's in all
Probably
times
the Savage
forever.
Land. That's probably just the
Probably.
Savage Land.
Probably. And Cyclops is wearing this like lion head on top of his own head, except like you know how he's got his sunglasses that keep him from blasting everything.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes are like the lion's eyes somehow, and the
Okay.
lion's eyes on top of his head are red, and so he doesn't
Okay.
blast everyone. Anyway, they figured out some way to stop his blasting ray with like artificial lion eyes.
I mean,
but that was not supposed to be in the original script at all. It was a typo. The writer had misspelled loincloth to be lioncloth.
I mean,
so
that's the best typo then.
Exactly. The artist just was like, what the fuck is a loincloth? I guess I'll draw a lion on his head.
I feel like that's the correct decision.
Right? And then in the Twitter thread, the actual artist or the actual writer of it was like, yeah, when I got the pages back, I was like, wow, the artist made a strong decision on this. I like it. I'm going to sign off on it. But wow, that's, I didn't expect that.
It's very funny.
I'm just imagining being the artist being like, what the fuck is a loincloth?
I try not to pay attention to big two stuff.
No, it's all dumb. It's very good for Schadenfreude though, sometimes, which is like, really? Really?
Going in my speech bubble. Me and Bones are gonna stream on Thursdays, video games. Because I've been getting really into RimWorld.
I freaking love RimWorld. I've spent way too much time playing that game.
I backed the Patreon for the Vanilla Expanded mod guys.
Nice.
They're gonna redo. Did you ever play the mod where there's you can make mutant hybrid animals?
Yes, I did.
So obviously that mod like doesn't work now with the new update. But yeah, the Vanilla Expanded guys and that guy teamed up to like remake it from scratch.
Oh wow.
So that way it better works with the current code and will not like clash with as many mods.
This is the one to clarify that there's like to get the stuff to make more mutagen, you either have to mine mutagen rocks that'll like turn you into weird shit
Oh no, no, that's the
randomly.
furry mod.
Oh, okay,
This is a different mod called Rim
gotcha.
Genetics,
Yes, I've played
uh,
that one.
where
So I
you can make
initially,
a wolf bear and a bear wolf, and they're different,
yes,
and you can make wolf
yes.
chickens.
Okay. I
Yeah,
initially I was trying to download that one, but
yeah.
I found the furry one by mistake, and I was like, oh, this is fetishy AF.
Oh, yeah. I play the furry one all the time.
Oh yeah, where it's like to get the mutagen, you have to mine this rock or turn into a cow and then milk yourself.
Or chicken prisoners.
Chicken prisoners is the
What I
solution.
what I keep doing is turning my prisoners into chicken or cow people,
Yes.
and then chopping off their legs so they
Oh,
can't
good.
break out or run away.
My cowman kept
Uh,
trying to escape because he hated
yeah,
being a
so,
cow.
so that's why you chop off his legs, and then he can't do anything.
Good, good. I
um,
made a camp of like Amazon warrior cannibals who would take prisoner all the men that they came across.
what I was doing is I made a team of because I also have a mod that adds pregnancy to the game, and I was finding that my characters were getting pregnant too quickly
Gotcha.
before like we've researched birth control.
Right.
Um, so to prevent that, I made like a default starting campaign that is the the I call them my science lesbians,
Good, good, good.
because basically they're all gay, so we don't have to worry about kids appearing
Yes.
until
You
we
get
want
the
them to appear.
they're smart science lesbians because they sit and they research all the time until you get birth control.
Well, the thing is like I have 10, and each one has a different job. So one is
Nice.
just the
Yeah.
researcher, one is the cook, one is the gardener, one is the
That's how to do it.
so and yeah, and it's just them committing horrific war crimes, and I
Good.
don't have to worry about
Good, good,
unplanned pregnancies because lesbianism is their birth control.
good. I really like the new uh come on, brain.
The ideology mod,
The ideology. I
yeah,
love it. It's really fun.
yeah. Um, the furry mod, they're about to make like an add-on mod that is
Really?
like you can make a furry cult.
Where you all must be anthro animals
Yeah.
to be part of the cult. Good.
Um, if you have the furry mod and you put in uh and you have ideology and you pick either animal primacy or nature primacy,
Mm-hmm.
one of your ritual um things that can happen, because if you successfully do a ritual, like you can have a
Yeah, you get
faction near you likes
happiness.
you or whatever.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you can get as a reward for a good ritual is that they get random mutations of whatever animal they venerate.
Oh, cool.
And the Vanilla Expanded people made um, memes and structures expanded, so you have more types of different weird religion things.
Oh, good.
Leading up to one of the new ceremonies you can have is you can make your people hedonists, and one of their new celebration options is an orgy. So you can have your characters have an orgy that results in them turning into furries.
That yeah, that yeah, that tracks, I guess. Yep. The aristocrats.
Yeah. Right now, Bones and
Okay.
I are doing a run through where we're playing. I have the Shadow Realms mod, so it adds like
Mm-hmm.
elves and ithalids and all these
Good.
other different D&D
Good.
races. So you might have noticed that the stream I did on Christmas and New Year's is titled "Non-Binary Squids Take Over the Planet." Um,
Yes.
Bones and I are playing as ithalids and trying to take over the planet.
Oh, good.
We're gonna make a people farm.
Good. Good.
Um,
Good.
because the ithalids only eat brains,
Right.
so we need people to
To
supply
eat.
us with brains.
Right.
Um, and I also have a mod that lets you run a restaurant, and since we'll have all that human meat left over,
Mm.
I was like, we should run a restaurant where we serve human to people.
Good old Cannibal Cafe.
I mean, they're squids, it's not cannibalism.
Yeah.
We're using every part of the dead human.
Good. Good. Sustainable. And
Yeah,
locally sourced.
yeah. Uh,
That feels like a good sign off. It's like, good.
yeah.
Good.
So
Good night, everybody.
I hope you all enjoyed the stream where we talked about horrific things that we did in RimWorld,
Yes.
um, and other
And
stuff.
also some of the really terrible things that they've done with some native characters in comics,
Yes,
which is a favorite
but
topic
we
of mine.
also talked about good books and
We did.
weird fan theories.
Yes.
I'm almost done with my wolf.
Good.
Uh,
And some great takes on the whole Beauty and the Beast tropes.
yes. So find my comics at kellmcdonald.com.
And you can find mine at weargeek.com and then my art at alinapete.com.
All right. So thanks anyone for watching,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna post this on YouTube. So
sounds good. I
later,
will
everybody.
see
Bye.
y'all next week.